Cinema Gold Show. I'm your host, Larry Leese. And on today's episode, we give our review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in honor of the new release of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Poddex, for sponsoring this episode. If you're a podcaster looking to grow your audience and get more engagement, check out Poddex today. Head on over to poddex.com, use the promo code Larry21 for 10% off your order. And of course, you can find us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Cinema Gold Show. And without further ado, let's dive right into Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We all saw the trailers, the hyper-kinetic action sequences, the unfamiliar kid in the stylish new Spider-Man costume, and those colors. That's all the Spider-Man in good shape. And even here, while there are laughs to be had at Peter's midlife crisis, they're never mean-spirited. Just as Miles is the kind of character that young viewers will want to hang out with and be. This Peter Parker directly reflects a portion of his aging audience. Seeing Spidey at a different point in his life than we've ever witnessed could easily have been a one-note gag, but now feels like a vital component of the character. One that's immediately at home in the largest tapestry of Spider-Man stories. Johnson's Peter Parker is weary but not bitter, and both the story and the performance managed to do something that's even the most diehard Spidey fan would have thought impossible. It shows us a genuinely new side of the character. The Peter-Miles dynamic could fuel the movie on its own, but then it wouldn't live up to the Spider-Verse portion of the title, would it? We're also introduced to a super heroic Gwen Stacy from an alternate dimension, played by Haley Steinfeld, a role which she should and will return to. Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham, voiced by John Mulaney. Penny Parker in her Mesha SP, played by Kimiko Glenn, and the mysterious Spider-Man Noir of 1933, played by Nicolas Cage. You'll want to spend more time with each of them, and one of the movie's many triumphs is how it blends not just different animation styles, but storytelling techniques for each of them. And yet, no matter how many Spider-Men and women are on screen at any given moment, Miles' arc is always clear, and somehow never gets lost, even amid the reality-warping abstract madness of its final act. But perhaps the movie's most impressive feat is how it never loses sight of its humanity, despite all its day-glo stylings. Something made even more remarkable when one of its supporting players is an anthropomorphic pig in a Spider-Man costume. In addition to the endlessly sympathetic Miles and Peter, Brian Tyree Henry provides emotional grounding with a warm performance as Miles' father, whose relationship with his son is quite distant from the more familiar Peter-Aunt May relationship. And yes, May Parker is here, voiced by Lily Tomlin, no less, stealing scenes with unexpectedly humor and timing. And what's a Spider-Man movie without its incredible rogues gallery? Our hero's woes and the breach in reality are the result of Wilson Fisk going far outside his organized crime comfort zone to do something very bad, but for almost understandable reasons. He's aided by the Prowler, a third-rate Marvel Comics baddie who is perhaps the best visual in a movie, with no shortage of them. Prowler is all purple and shadow, more menacing than most live-action Marvel villains, and his arrival is always heralded by unsettling sound effects and terrific stabs of music. There are others, and I won't spoil them, but do keep an eye out for Catherine Hahn. Freedom was afforded these creators, and when we might see something like it again. Marvel Studios righted the ship for Spidey in live action with Spider-Man Homecoming, which was refreshing for both its straightforward approach to Peter himself and the novelty of seeing the character in MCU. But here he comes Into the Spider-Verse. To remind everyone that you don't need a shared universe of dozens of films to tell a big story, and that great characters can pull their own weight just fine. For comic book fans, there are endless Easter eggs, both of the traditional Spot the Spidey trivia, to the kind of sharp, timely pop culture jokes that Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs specialized in. And while there's plenty of room for a sequel, which we welcome this weekend, none of this fan service gets in the way. Bouncing from one dizzying action sequence to the next, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse could easily have become a migraine-inducing chore. It's anything but. It took 3 directors and countless animators to thread that needle. But the movie never pulls the same trick twice, and even its most visually intense moments are in service of the story, often broken up with impeccably placed gags. By the time Miles truly embraces his role as Spider-Man, you've already seen a lot, and that's where the movie chooses to deliver its most graceful, kinetic sequence. It somehow feels underestimated in comparison to the rest of the film, yet it's one of the best big screen moments in Spider-Man history, and it belongs to Miles Morales. That Miles Morales can share the screen with one of the most recognizable icons in all of pop culture and still clearly be the hero of his own story is impressive, and a testament to the obvious love that went into crafting both the character and his world. Delivering that kind of emotion in a movie this big and brash is no small task. It's the kind of achievement that brings to mind the adjectives usually attached to one of Peter Parker's comic books. Amazing, spectacular, sensational. Welcome to the big time, Miles. Let's do this again. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. What did you think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Give us your take on the movie. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let us know. And as always, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Cinema Gold Show. And if you want to support the channel, go ahead and buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. Your support helps the channel grow, upgrade our equipment, bring in new hosts, be able to pay them, and eventually take this show on the road. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you next time.